Beautiful.
It's your boy Abdi.
It's your boy King Testify, man.
Boy, Lil Gap.
Yup, and it's the Technical Foul Podcast. We're back at it with another episode today, and we're going to talk about the recent boycott that has happened. Well, Russell Westbrook doesn't want us to call it a boycott, but the recent stoppages of the games that happened due to a wild series of events that have gone on in the United States, which involved a shooting of a black man by the name of Jacob Blake, who stayed alive, God bless, and the 17-year-old who shot up an entire what was it?
I think 3 people and killed 2.
But what was it? AR-15?
I don't know. I just know it was illegal and from a different state.
And we'll be talking about that before we get into any sports. So like, I'd like to know you guys' thoughts. Whoever wants to start off, be my guest. But the floor is yours.
Miles, you can go ahead first, man.
So, to start, we're not going to call them boycotts. I'm going to call them a strike. It wasn't a big shock, in my opinion, because, we've been seeing them speak out on these type of things in the league a couple of months, in advance, and they've been a big advocate for most of their employees, just because the league is predominantly African American, and to the casual viewer, it might have seemed unusual, but I'm really proud in a sense of how the league has responded and used the platform properly to speak on acts of social injustice, and they've been a big advocate for the longest, to be honest with you. Also, shout out to the WNBA, because they've been going hard for the movement for a while now, and they don't get enough credit. That's one thing that I think we should talk about a little more often. How the WNBA, they got some hoopers, and they also believe there needs to be change. And shout out to them. You can go ahead, Johannes.
Yeah, no. I kind of want to integrate our next topic a little bit into this, but very lightly. Players from the jump before the bubble were hesitant to go play, for this exact purpose. They want to be out on the front lines, protest, do what they got to do in order to, make a change and, have their voices heard. So I think when this happened, I don't think any of us were really surprised, because this was already, kind of integrated in the playoffs and in the bubble, with the Black Lives Matter on the court, with the shirts, with them protesting. And I'm just glad that, they were able to at least make a change during these days off. They had the governor of Wisconsin, they had DA on the phone, they were right on it, you know what I mean? They were right on it. They even had a meeting with the GMs and the owners, and it's great to see that players and coaches as well, and the league, Adam Silver, shout out to him as well, all working together to see what they can do in their power to contribute to the fight of America, basically.
Right, and I think George Hill. I don't mean to cut you off. I think George Hill. I mean, a lot of people have heard what he said. When he was in the back, reporter asked him, "Why were you in the back during the national anthem?" And he responded with, "I take a doo-doo before every game." Now, people found that funny and people found that offensive, but I think his words kind of resonated, because if you think about it, bro, these guys out here are playing, and you're saying, bro, like what you're doing out there and using your platform for is absolutely bullshit, and you should just focus on the sport of basketball and not get into politics. So I think that was his kind of like his response to, if you think that I'm shit, like if you think that what I'm doing is shit, then this is me responding to what you think. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it was just a stand against what has been really, really going on in this rough times. But I want to get into Kendrick Perkins, bro. To stay on topic, we all heard about what he said with Kyrie. There's a quote that he had a couple months ago where he said, "The NBA is going to continue. All he's doing is causing unnecessary drama between the NBA brothers that we don't need right now." This was Perk talking about Kyrie, like not even continuing the season, canceling the season, boycotting the season, to use lack of better words, you know. But this is him talking about Kyrie at the time, which is like June, I think.
June, yeah.
Yeah, it was June. And then on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, he was on the radio show over there. He was talking about the recent postponements of games and his thoughts on it. And he said, "Now, when you look at it, quote unquote, when you look at it, everyone was on the same page. I just applaud everyone who was doing it." This is his comments to that. Now, in Perk's defense, bro, he did say that he doesn't think the NBA should be canceled, like the season shouldn't be canceled. But what are you guys' thoughts on that? On Perk, do you think that he's just like a bit confused about everything that's going on?
I'm gonna say this, and this is not me being biased to my fellow Celtics brother, you know, but I think that he was speaking for all of us, because I think all of us were on the same mindset as far as like, you know, we were laughing back then, like Kyrie talking about, yo, we want the season back.
I mean,
you know, you can.
In defense, I was kind of upset at the time because like we were going through such a lot of problems in the world, not just not having sports, but like having the fact that the NBA was going to come back, sports in general was going to come back out. We were all happy, and I was kind of like, Kyrie, bro, like you wrong for this.
Right.
But then again, I totally understand where Perk has come from, and where Kyrie's coming from now.
So what I don't know if you remember this, but I told OD this I think right around that time. I said that Kyrie has a great opinion and a great, you know, thought. He's just executing it the wrong way. Because he was talking about having his own league, like, you know, their own separate league outside the NBA and this and this and that. And right now, just before I get to the Perkins topic, right now, we don't need a separation from, you know, our own league versus the NBA, whatever. We gotta work together on this. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Adam Silver's done a great job. You know, everybody knows the NBA is the best league as far as putting out, you know, thoughtful statements and working together with players, and you know, from top to bottom. And you know, like B and I talked about a few weeks ago, I think. Back when they wore the "I Can't Breathe" shirts.
Yeah.
You know, like they've been doing this for a while. And when Kyrie was saying that, you know, I was just like, man, come on, man. Like, we gotta, it's not gonna financially work to have your own league, and B, you gotta have unity in this time, you know. This is what it's all about. It's all about uniting, working together to hopefully push a message and do something, you know, on a legal term.
And I think that's why George Hill made that statement, where it's like, you guys are treating us like we about this world. Excuse my language, but like a lot of people on social media, a lot of people have their voices and they voiced out their opinions on what the NBA is, and saying like, you guys should not focus on. As I said before, bro, you know, George Hill making that statement is pretty much like, yo, a big F you to you guys who think that we're doing a wrong thing by using our platform to spread awareness. Miles, go ahead.
It's unfortunate because it's that shut up and dribble type of thing when people don't expect athletes to use their platform to speak on issues that they don't want to necessarily face, just because they're trying to look at sports as an outlet to get away from all this. But to stay on topic, as far as what Perk said about Kyrie, you know, Kyrie is he's the vice president of the Players Association. So what Kendrick is, honestly, I feel like is challenging him to do is to just stay on task and stay like unify with the league instead of trying to like disperse and make it a little bit more difficult with like having an alternative league for players. Like that's extra. So I think what Perk is challenging him to do is to, just have a plan. He's urging him to have a plan. And he even said, and I quote, um, you have been on these conference calls over the last 2 months. You're the vice president of the Players Association. You have been very involved in all that's taken place as far as whether we're going to play or not. You've been on the phone and you voted to play. And that was shocking to me because when I found out that Kyrie had voted to play, it was a little confusing for me. He also said that he was going to fly down to Orlando to join the team if they did decide to play, and they did. And you know, that just goes back to what Perk said, is to, for him to just have a plan, because like if you're in a position of leadership, especially being a superstar, an NBA superstar, you need to be able to lead the Players Association and come up with a plan and be on the same accord when it comes to this. This is such a fragile time that we're living in. This is definitely the time where he needs to step up and like do what he said he's going to do. We're all fighting the same fight. There's no need to disperse and do other things. But as far as what he said recently, I think Perk is just challenging him, and I agree personally, because when it came down to that meeting that the players had in the bubble recently, and LeBron ended up walking out of the room getting upset, Bucks ended up canceling the game in protest of what happened to Mr. Jacob Blake, and they didn't tell nobody. And LeBron, he felt like he was blindsided. The Clippers and the Lakers ultimately ended up deciding to make the vote to not continue the season, which we see didn't happen. But that's Perk's. I think that's just to wrap it up. That's what Perk's message is just to make sure everybody is on the same page and we have a plan in place.
LeBron.
So I want to talk about LeBron real quick, because I saw the reports from Woj and from Stephen A. as far as him trying to, his discussion in the meeting being very, very looked down upon.
Yeah.
Because I guess LeBron was trying to talk down to a lot of players in the meeting, and a lot of people weren't having that. So if I didn't know about the LeBron situation of him getting blindsided by,
well, pretty much the whole league.
The whole league.
I don't believe. I think as a like Milwaukee Bucks, like you're representing like what has gone on in your own
Wisconsin.
In your own city. Like they have no reason. LeBron shouldn't be mad. The NBA shouldn't be mad.
I'm gonna say this real quick before I get to. Oh no, go ahead, Miles.
I was just relating back to my point of him saying that there needs to be more communication about the issue, because they were in the locker room getting ready. Orlando was on the court warming up, and they decided, oh, we're not going to play the game. I felt like they could have communicated that a little bit better with the rest of the league. It shocked all the viewers, but as far as the players, and since they have this whole union and organization, like they should have been able to use that to relay that message to people before it ended up happening.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this real quick from my perspective. This is just an opinion-based matter. I don't think anybody got blindsided because Boston and Toronto were talking about this the day prior. So I feel like everybody should have had an eye opening. Yes, they didn't fully know that everything was gonna get canceled, but they had an idea. They heard teams talking about it. And in my opinion, I'm glad that they didn't tell anybody about it, because everybody was tuned in to watch the game. Then all of a sudden, we all get an alert on our phone, hey, Milwaukee didn't show up because they're quote-unquote boycotting, which then raised everybody's eyes to like, oh, what's going on? Why are they boycotting? It just made us all tune in. But back to LeBron.
No doubt.
It's just, for me personally, if you are, if you have that organization, why not use it to be like, hey, guys, we're going to end up doing this. We saw that Boston and Toronto weren't going to play. And, if they would have played, they probably would have got ripped for it. So, they could have just at that point started the conversation and say, hey, guys, we're going to not play today. And tomorrow we're also not going to play. Like, let's just be on the same page about that. True. That's all. That's my opinion.
True.
That's all. That's my opinion.
But back to LeBron, because I know Miles over here ducking because it's his boy, Lakers guy over here. But look, LeBron. So LeBron has to understand one thing: if everything is true, because players were telling Stephen A. and Woj this, so I believe it. Well, I'm just saying I can believe it based off LeBron's persona and based off what he was doing beforehand. Because I want to bring up something about LeBron. He posted something on Instagram talking about a book from Malcolm X that he was reading. Okay, and then somebody asked him in an interview. Yeah, somebody asked him in an interview what his favorite quotes or whatever, what his favorite part of the book was, and he completely dodged it. We all know he didn't read the book. All right, everybody knows it. He was just being so like.
Taylor Brooks.
Yeah, everything about the book, really relate. No,
it was Taylor Brooks.
Yeah, and listen, I've done it before.
Shout out Taylor Brooks.
Shout out Taylor Brooks. I've done it before in classes. We've all done it, man. We've not read a book, so we've kind of skimmed and BS'd our way to say that we did. But back to the meeting, LeBron has to understand, yes, he's the guy of the league. Yes, he's the face of the league, but you can't talk down to people in a meeting. You can't have people vote your way. You know what I'm saying? You can't try and persuade people to vote on your side. I mean, yes, he got his Lakers teammates and the Clippers guys, walked out with him, but he's got to understand that this is a unified league, right? So you can't say, okay, we got to do this because I'm this guy. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out a way collectively to figure out how you can move forward.
Yeah, go ahead.
How you're gonna move forward and actually make a difference, not say this is my way. I'm talking beneath you. Basically, he was saying that he was trying to talk beneath people, and I don't really rock with that.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say, I want to kind of retract to what Miles has said and kind of what you're saying, where it's like the league is supposed to come collectively. And Miles, you stated, you pointed out that Kyrie didn't have a plan, right? That's what you had pointed out to okay, all right. So if he didn't have a plan, why is he the vice president of the NBA Players Association? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's beyond me.
I'm just, like it's if the vice president of the NBA Players Association speaks out on issues that are going around in the league, and now players are starting to notice it, it's kind of just like, Kendrick, what are you talking about? Are you doing this for the media? Are you doing this for TV? Are you just like, are you confused? Are you really brutally confused?
I think he's just confused.
You know what I'm saying? That's just my whole take on the whole Perk situation. But then again, what you had said about LeBron going around doing this and that, a lot of reporters try to, swirl the word, like they don't use the right words to portray what had really happened, because we weren't at the meeting. We can't say, "Yo, Stephen A., you're right."
I will never say Stephen A. is right. Just saying.
So it's just like, what we're getting told is what we're getting told. Is it for everyone to believe? No. Now, yes, LeBron does carry himself at a higher echelon than a lot of other players, and some other players may feel like, bro, you're wrong for what you're doing and what you did with the Clippers and the Lakers walking out. That was like, bro, you guys can't be the only two teams to vote for that.
Real quick, they didn't actually vote to have the season end. They were just leaning on that side. Like, they didn't have a real, sit down, hey, who actually doesn't want the season to continue. They just weren't on the side of wanting to play. They just, from an opinion base.
AD spoke on that the other night, too.
Shout out to AD.
He said, if the owners and the executives don't fall through with what we had said in the meeting, then there's a very high chance that he said that.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. But from what I'm hearing is that owners are all collectively going to try and do whatever the players want them to do. So hopefully it goes down the right path. And I know that they're going to take the players seriously because they already suspended 3 games personally.
Money, bro.
And they don't even care about the money. The players don't care about the money. I'm saying owners, obviously,
yeah.
But I'm saying the players.
Pat, you wrong for what you said, by the way. Just want to point that out.
Patrick Beverley, you need to be corrected for that, bro.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, man, listen. You know, Pat. I was gonna hook you up with a lifetime supply of lotion for your hair, but I'm taking that back, bro. You were my guy. But you over here, when you started talking crap about Dame, that was strike one. Strike two was you talking crap about Luka and KP from the sidelines when you weren't even playing. And now this is strike three, bro. You don't ever disrespect another person, bro. You know, when you want to accomplish something, you gotta sit down and actually have a real conversation and negotiate, bro. That's not the way to portray yourself as a person, man. Straight up.
It's very disrespectful, especially when you're not that guy to be in a position to even make remarks like that.
Yeah, he was saying.
Come on, bro.
He was saying.
You're
I
not
cut your checks.
saying stuff like that.
He was saying, I cut your checks, bro. Last time I checked, bro. Last time I checked, bro.
Got some pom poms on the sideline.
Yeah, last time I checked, bro, you were borderline, you know, on your way to China, bro. Don't talk about
Miles, let's stay on that
You got
topic.
no sneaker deal.
Now let's stay on that topic, Miles. What do you have to say about Patrick Beverley's comments to
Yeah, dude.
I think he was totally out of pocket for that. Like, dude, you don't have no major sneaker deal to be in a position to tell people that, oh, I cut your checks, so my opinion is more important than yours. No, the whole idea of the whole discussion was to let's come to an agreement about what we're gonna do about this. And he's just overstepping with he's an outspoken person. I know Pat Bev is real rambunctious and braggadocious and all that, but dude came out way out of pocket on this one. And I think he needs to issue an apology because that was just totally disrespectful what he did.
You know, honestly, you clearly disagreed with that.
I'm not a fan of Patrick Beverley anymore, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully the season goes on. Hopefully we get to see a championship through, because, like, to me, this is the longest NBA season of all time.
My goodness.
Bro, it should have ended like 2 months ago.
You know what's crazy?
They should have been getting ready for preseason at this point.
You know what's crazy is I was talking to somebody and I was like, man, you know, if life was normal, I would have been at this Toronto-Boston game.
Yeah.
But then I realized that game would have been played 4 months.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, bro, like, yes, we did. Shout out, as Miles said, man, that WNBA's been doing this for years, bro.
Yeah.
So big kudos to them.
Since the Trayvon Martin incident, like they've been speaking up and using their platform, and it's only ramped up since then. So they've been doing this, and honestly, I need the NBA to step it up just a little bit when when it comes to your uniformity, because WNBA seems like everybody's on the same page with it.
Bro, every single team that was in the playoffs came out and every team came out in support of Jacob Blake and what had happened in Milwaukee, and took a knee, and then said, "Yo, we're not going to be playing games until this shit's fixed." And I think that resonates because as Miles said, they've been doing this for years, and the fact that, you know, the sports media is just trying to find out about it because it's more of a story now, which is sad.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a story for years, bro.
And I don't want to get political, but when I saw that the vice president of the United States was basically talking crap about all these teams not playing, that's not how that's not how you portray yourself, man. You know, forget politics, forget who I believe in.
Not just the vice president,
No, but I want to go right at the VP because he was the first one to talk about it. And I don't care about politics or anything like that. I don't really care what people vote for, but like as a leader, you have to hear them out. You know, like you see the governor of Wisconsin immediately calling the Bucks. You know, as the vice president, I would call.
But they didn't immediately call the Bucks. The Bucks called them, bro. What are you talking about?
Well, either way, I'm saying that there was communication. There's communication.
Yeah.
Instead of the governor saying talking down about the Bucks, saying that they're disappointed in them. You know, you just got to be in a leadership role. You have to figure out how we're gonna be unified together. That's all I'm saying. You know, I don't really care about politics.
There's too much of this going on when there should be a lot of this.
Yeah, because
once we all get to this, bro, this world is just gonna be full of this. You know what I'm saying?
It's all about conversation, man. That's all that really matters, bro. We can't just be out here like ignoring each other and saying, screw your opinion or screw this. This is how it should be. No, man, we should have a conversation, and I feel like the people in leadership should be the first ones to have conversations. And then we'll look up to them. You know, people look up to them and be like, okay, you know what? They're having conversations. Let's have conversations.
Instead of trolling, instead of trolling. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I was going to save it for the other segment, but to be honest with you, I'm completely 100% agreeing with you, Johannes. somebody that's in like a leadership role. Oh, before I even say that, I'm not trying to like, I hate politics. I can't stand them. But if you're in a position of leadership, we should be trying to unify people. And I saw the little Republican National Convention or whatever, and to not speak on the situation in such a sensitive time in history, and to only call to the end of violence, which was very vague on both sides, it's really disappointing. Like, you're gonna reinforce that we need law and order, but you to me, it was him taking a side as far as like how people come with the whole Black Lives Matter movement and politicizing, basically hijacking the whole thing as a vehicle for a political movement, and that's not even what this is about. So, if leadership doesn't grab to the idea that everybody just needs to be treated equally instead of trying to galvanize people and get them to double down and use it as his like use it to fuel your campaign, and like that's just a bad example, a really bad example. And we need to have somebody that cares, that actually has the best interest for everybody that's living in this country, because what's the first part of the country that we live in? The United States. And if we're not united at all, with starting from the top, what's going to happen to everybody going down? There's just going to be a lot of, all this is just going to end up repeating over again. So I can do that. So to start off with the no name segment, y'all, I'm making it a little bit more, bringing some more awareness to the tensions that's going on in the country that we live in, the United States. There's a lot of racial tension. And for example, the cops that shot and killed Breonna Taylor, as of August 30th, 2020, still haven't been arrested. It's been about 5 months ongoing with the investigation, and the Attorney General, Mr. Daniel Cameron, if you do happen to watch this show, I don't know, maybe sometime down the line you will. I need to know why it's taken so long to get this case closed, because I'm not trying to make it political. I just need to know why it's taking so long, when you've had 5 whole months to get this closed, and we have, to me, empirical evidence that the cops need to be held responsible. The chief of police said that the officer that did fire the 10 rounds into the home of Breonna Taylor, and I quote, did it. Oh, hold on, I don't have there. That's another thing that I was talking about earlier. So leadership needs to step in and step up and be leaders. The fact that we've had this case ongoing and pending for so long, it just baffles me. And it's stuff like that starts, to bring other change when you hold people accountable. And that's the problem that we have in this country, especially with leadership.
Because the officer who murdered George Floyd wasn't arrested immediately. You had protesters outside of his home for over a week.
A month, right?
A week.
No.
Until he was arrested.
I thought it was a month.
No, a week. Because there's protesters.
It felt like a month.
This whole thing has been.
It felt like a month though, but it was 1 week.
Yeah, and they had.
20 years, and it felt like 20 years.
Imagine if protesters were not outside of his home for that entire week. Making sure Uber Eats drivers couldn't drop off his food, and what I'm saying, all this kind of stuff. Like everything that's happened, at least just for the George Floyd matter, as an example, everything that happened, from the looting, from people being outside of the officer's home, the murderer's home, excuse me, that all put pressure to have him arrested. What if that never happened? What if people weren't outside of his home? What if people weren't heavily protesting and really showing their frustration?
As we can see, it made a difference. Pressure makes diamonds, and if we don't apply pressure, then unfortunately we can't get people to get things done in this country, or anywhere. Period.
This is why. We hear on Technical Foul Podcast speak on this type of matter because the platform being used, bro, by the players, a predominantly black sport, the platform that they're using to bring awareness to what is going on, the Breonna Taylors, the George Floyds, the Trayvon Martins, bro, like the Jacob Blakes. This is why this shit is happening, not just in the NBA, but like in the entire world, where you see MLB stepping, the NHL, my guy, the NHL.
It took them a little while to jump on board, but shout out to them.
And the NFL, and then the NFL just like now realizing like, oh, let's join the wave, let's get in this wagon.
Cloud chasers, they're cloud chasers.
You know, and that's
Not to interrupt.
Up, D, but I'm really curious as to see what they're gonna do.
They're
I think
not.
they're gonna have more of an impact than the NBA is, just because of their demographic is literally
All black.
it's more
Well, the fans.
the fan demographic
Oh,
is
the
more
fans.
colorful than just the NBA. It's more
Oh, it is.
they would say urban being the NBA's demographic, but with the NFL that brings communities together. So to be honest with you, I feel like they're gonna have a little bit more of an impact, and I need Commissioner Roger Goodell to be strong and steadfast with his stance on this matter, considering most of his employees that actually make you money are black. So
Yep. And
if-
stop riding the wave. Stop riding the wave when the wave was being brought to you by our very own Kaepernick. Stop riding that wave now when it's hot.
Like I said,
Shout out to the WNBA. Shout out to the NBA,
MLB.
MLB, Johannes,
NHL.
cloud chasing.
Like I said, the cloud chasers. NFL. Well, I don't even watch football like that, honestly. But I know enough to know that Roger Goodell, and I don't even really care about the owners in NFL, but they're all cloud chasers, right? They all care about money is more important to them than the players, right?
You shouldn't be profiting, bro. You should, as an NFL, as Roger Goodell, you should not be profiting off of this Black Lives Matters. Like, you had the chance when it was brought to you years ago, to take action. Why now, bro? And this is why this is a perfect topic brought by Maz, because it's been a long time since any news has popped up until this recent week about Breonna Taylor, you know.
Yeah.
And just don't say sports should not focus on politics. This is why sports should focus on politics. People speak on it.
If you're a human being, you're allowed to speak about whatever you want to speak about, and then whatever that concerns our country and our people. No matter what your profession is, everybody has a voice in this country. You know, whether we agree with each other or not, we all have a voice. We have an opinion. You can
Article 1, Amendment 1.
You can voice. You can voice.
In the United States, it's your given right. It's in the Constitution.
You know,
You can do whatever you want, because if you look at NBA players and say they can't speak about politics, and then you look at people going up with guns to state capitol buildings talking about we don't want this corona stuff, we don't want to wear masks anymore, and this and that. If you can have that sort of freedom and voice of speech, then anybody else can do whatever they want to do, if it's in the right if it's in the right matter and it's not harming anybody. You know what I mean? Like, you can speak about.
and you hit that right to the point. And you know what's crazy? A lot of people viewing this or listening to this probably gonna say, well, but no, man, no, it's not like that. You know what aggravates me about this whole situation? People posting about change, people saying like we should be united, you know, like, oh, no one should walk around with a gun fully loaded, this and that. Like, imagine you being that 17-year-old boy, bro, right? And you were black, you know, walking around with that whatever AR-15 strapped around your shoulders, and you go into a cop cruiser with your hands held up, and you go right next to the cruiser's passenger door, and they don't do shit. Imagine that being me, bro. 20 feet away from the cruiser, with that rifle in my hand.
What's up, boy?
Imagine that being me, bro. You feel me, bro? You see where I'm coming from, man?
Hey, man.
Like, you see where the anger that we have towards like the systemic shit it's just not right, bro. He's 17, walking around. He just killed someone. He killed someone. He killed multiple people. He's walking up to a cop cruiser, and the cop's like, put your hands up. This and that. Without shooting him. If that was me or you, or any of our brothers or sisters, boom, we would have been a hashtag right there.
Okay. And I just want to say another thing is he didn't get arrested that night that he did it.
He was able to cross the state line, go home, and then turn himself in, which is also illegal.
Yeah.
That shit just irks me, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been followed by police officers to my car. You know what I mean? For leaving a Five Guys with one of my friends. You know, followed for 6 blocks all the way to my car.
That happened to me last night. I got followed by a cop through a drive-thru.
You said.
I'm talking like on foot. I was followed on foot.
Yikes, that's scary.
From Five Guys at 4th Street. Do you know where the plaza of what do you call it? That video store. Why am I? Boom's.
Oh yeah.
They have
in the old part.
They have the parking. Yeah, they have a parking lot right across from like the court.
Yeah.
You know, whatever the court is. I'm not gonna say who it is. I'll say off camera who my friend was. But we left Five Guys and walked all. Dude, that's like 6 blocks.
That's a long.
About 5 or 6 blocks.
That's
and
like
2 officers. You know how there's always officers all riled up together by 4th Street when OP is canceled or OP is done. I wasn't even 21 at the time. We just went because we were hungry. 2 officers followed both of us all the way to our cars.
Wow.
Right? And then, you know, they were watching us because I kept looking back and they were watching us. You know, they were strictly like, you knew they were following us. And right when we got to our cars, they just merged into a different, you know.
We're out of cap.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But that's just a conversation in general. But man.
But
So
that's fucked up. I'll just add the Zoom call to the video, but
yeah,
we're out of cap with that.
Oh no, you're straight. I just want to talk to you guys. Like it was more of a conversation between.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like you guys, like
no.
that was years ago, but I will never forget that.